Hello and welcome to episode 7 of the Carweekpodcast. Got a lot in store for you this podcast. I think I'll start off with some motorsport news.
Yeah.
Over the summer break, we've missed it. Well, we haven't missed it, but we haven't talked about it yet. Esteban Ocon got kicked out of his Williams seat by Force India seat, by Lance Stroll, coming from Williams once Lance Stroll bought Force India and changed the name.
Mm-hmm.
He's now got a seat for 2020. He's taking Nico Hülkenberg's seat out of Renault and moving Nico Hülkenberg out.
Did you see that one coming?
I heard rumours of it coming. I
Yeah.
didn't expect it really. I thought
Me
maybe
either.
with Bottas's performance over the last season, I would have thought they maybe have swapped him out and put him in Mercedes and Bottas would have just gone wherever. But I don't know. I really don't know why they. But, I'm glad to see him back though.
Yeah, back.
He's a great talent for the sport,
Yeah.
so I'm glad to see him back in a racing car. That's the main thing.
Mm.
But now with Hülkenberg leaving Renault, where's he going to go?
I've heard rumours about a Haas.
Yes. And
Really?
apparently the rumours are that it's going to be Romain Grosjean leaving and him and Kevin Magnussen teaming together.
And that'll be a
Okay.
very sour relationship.
That's just
Did you
going
hear
to
what
work,
Gun-
isn't it?
Did you hear what Gunter Steiner said? Because he was so press asked him about the possibility of them teaming. He's like, "Are you not worried about them hitting each other?" And Gunter Steiner said, "Well, my teammates already hit each other already. What's the difference?" So
Brilliant,
Gunter Steiner's
man.
not worried about it. So I don't think we've got too much to worry about. So and a bit more driver news: Valtteri Bottas has had his contract extended to 2020, which I'm
Not surprised about.
not happy about it really.
I'm not happy about it,
Oh.
but I'm not surprised either.
I'm not surprised because he's a great wingman for Lewis Hamilton. Let's put it
Yeah, no,
plain
he is,
and
yeah.
simple.
Yeah.
He is a wingman at this
Mhm.
point. He is nothing else. He's just not a good talent for the car he's in. But I guess all they really want from him is a wingman for Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, all
Pretty
they
much,
want is
yeah.
him just to be a barricade.
Mhm.
Really, because if they put Esteban Ocon in there, they don't know whether he was going to meld with the car and challenge Hamilton like Nico Hülkenberg did,
Mhm.
or what was going on.
I think you mean Rosberg.
Yeah, sorry, Rosberg. There's too many Nicos, too many Germans. It's all going
Yeah,
crazy in my head.
too many Swiss
But-
Germans.
I guess that's probably one reason they didn't want Esteban Ocon in the seat at that point. But
Yeah, because it's a bit more unpredictable.
I would have
isn't
just thought you're
Mm.
putting all that money into a second car for your team, but you're having a lousy driver race it. So where's really the return on your investment there? But
True.
I don't know. And now we move on to Spa. We had to
That's
pre-record last episode, so we missed out talking about Spa because we had to record it the week before because I was away and we couldn't record it then. Some very tragic news. In F2, it was the feature race, I believe. There was a fatal collision between Juan Manuel Carrera and Anton Hubert, and unfortunately, we lost Antoine Hubert. Our thoughts and condolences and prayers all go out to the Hubert family and the Carrera family because he is still in intensive care with
Yeah.
acute respiratory failure or some condition. So our thoughts and prayers go out to him. We won't speak any more on that. We just thoughts and prayers out with the
Yeah.
Huberts and the Carreras. But if
Yeah.
we move on to the actual race itself, qualifying, our boys on pole. Charles Leclerc finally his third pole this season now. He had Bahrain,
Yeah.
Austria. I think he was pole on Austria, wasn't
Yeah.
he? And then now he's had pole at Spa. So it's his third pole this season.
About time for a little win, maybe?
I think you'll be quite happy with the results. He did win the race, finally. But if we backtrack first, Charles Leclerc on pole, then the first lap of the race. We had a collision with Kimi Raikkonen and Max Verstappen going into the first corner,
Yeah.
which I thought was a bit of a weird one, really. Because if you see the onboard of Max Verstappen, he's got quite a bit of room going into the first corner. Then Kimi Raikkonen is not expecting him to be there and turns in and flips.
Because
Yeah.
where this is one of the races I actually watched live for once. Hearing the commentary for it, like the commentators say that like they saw the old Verstappen come out where he's trying to go for a gap that isn't
Isn't there.
really there.
And
Yeah.
obviously Kimmy doesn't expect that, does he? So
Yeah.
No, because see, Spa first corner is one of the corners in the circuit or in the calendar where you can make up like 10 positions just being a little bit ballsy going on the brakes going into the first corner.
And
Or
where he was,
expecting a
he
collision.
needed to,
Oh yeah,
needed
because he
to
was
try
starting
and,
from. Yeah, I think he wasn't starting from the back. He had a bad start, and he dropped down the order, so he needed to regain some of the positions.
So yeah, he probably just saw that opportunity and was like, "We'll go for it."
Which didn't work out for him. I think it was a bit of a racing incident, a bit more fault on Max Verstappen, but to me is more 6-1, half dozen to the other on that incident. But I don't think any of them got penalised for it, did they? Because Max Verstappen went to go up Radion, and obviously you see his steering was messed up with the collision. He nearly took out Kimi Räikkönen again and crashed going up Radion, which was a bit of a weird one, because I would have thought he must have... I don't know if he didn't see his steering was messed up on this front wheel.
Surely you could feel it.
Well, when you see the collision, you actually see like the steering arm break. You see the wheel twitch and the other one not. So I don't know about that one. Then it was an eventful race. During the race, we had good racing between Charles Leclerc, Seb, Hamilton, and all that. Seb blocking Hamilton for Charles Leclerc to give him a better gap on the pit stop window.
Ferrari strategy finally.
Good strategy finally, yeah. But on the last lap, we had quite a bit of action. We had Antonio Giovinazzi crashing, just going around the corner, all on his own, spins, loses the back, and crashes into the wall. I really don't know what to say about Antonio Giovinazzi now. I did like him. He started off not well, roughly, but I just think he's not really going to hold up against Kimi Räikkönen in that Alfa Romeo seat, and I don't see him staying for 2020, really, after this performance. But who knows? They kept Marcus Ericsson for how long? So maybe they'll put the hopes in him. And then we had possibly one of the funniest retirements ever.
But also the saddest.
Oh, sad, but the way he sort of stated that he was retiring was so funny. Lando Norris coming over the line to start his last lap. He's in P5. This would be his best finish position ever in F1. And as he's coming up to the bus stop chicane, he starts losing power. And he's screaming he's losing power. If you want to hear the audio of it, it's honestly probably one of the funniest things you ever see, but also the saddest. Because he's 19 years old. He's about to finish 5th in a McLaren.
Yeah, McLaren
at
F1
Spa.
car.
They don't have the best straight line pace, which Spa is one of the power tracks. So this could have been one of his...
He's worked his arse for it, and then it all
went pop. So Lando, unfortunately, had to retire from the race. But that meant there was yellow flags going into some of the sectors, and that allowed Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton's battle to be slowed down a little bit going on to the final lap, meaning Charles Leclerc actually won his first ever Grand Prix.
Yes.
Finally.
And that, for me, when I watched that, obviously didn't want to overreact because, well, one, I just didn't feel like shouting at all. But internally, I was screaming, going, finally.
Yeah. Finally, that boy won his first Grand Prix because he's an immense talent. The thing is, like Charles Leclerc said, it was he had mixed emotions going across the line because obviously he was very close with Antoine Hubert, coming up together on the karting circuit. He dedicated his first F1 win to him.
Yeah, no, it wasn't it. You see him get the camera straight away and take it to the sticker.
It was a beautiful moment, to be fair. Because now Charles Leclerc dedicated his F3 title to Gil Bianchi, his F2 title to his dad, and now his very first F1 win to Antoine Hubert. It seems that Charles Leclerc has it's sort of a storybook F1 career.
Yeah, no,
he comes up.
amazing.
He's lost so many important people in his life, like his godfather, his father, and one of his best friends, and he's having great success. But it's weird.
Yeah, no, he's definitely got the story behind him.
It'll make a great movie one day. But
Oh, it would actually.
it'll be a sad but great movie.
Yeah.
That's.
But it's just the last thing I have to mention from that was when I found it it sort of shows how close the drivers are as a community.
I think it's more these new wave drivers are so close as a community.
With just Gasly going up to Leclerc, just win this for Anton, just win this for him.
Yeah, because it was Antoine,
the young drivers, isn't it?
It was Antoine, Gasly, Leclerc, and who was the other driver who came? Was it Albon or was it someone else who came up?
I think it was Russell.
Yeah, I think it was Russell.
It might have been Russell, yeah. Because they all came up together and were competing on the karting circuit together. And
exactly, yeah, they grew up. They all had that same dream.
yeah. it's a sad time. But
It is. But
I think if we move on to Monza now, I think that's possibly one of the craziest qualifyings I've ever seen. It started off normal, about Q1, Q2. Then
Q3.
Raikkonen crashed in Q3, so it brought out some red flags. Everyone only got a banker lap in to start with. And then it was towards the end of the session. I don't know what happened to the drivers. Because obviously Monza, you needed the toe to get a good lap.
Mm-hmm.
So if the final lap, or the final 1 minute 30, all the engineers send them out. And you got all the drivers driving around at a snail's pace, not wanting to go bunching up, not wanting to go first because no one wanted to
have
not
the
have a toe.
disadvantage of not
Everyone
having
needed the toe. So you had Carlos Sainz, Nico Hülkenberg, and Lance Stroll all at the front trying to hold up the pack. Even Nico Hülkenberg, he pretended to lock up, went down the runoff area at turn 1.
And still ended up in front of everyone.
He assumed he was going to come behind everyone, but everyone just sort of stopped. It's like, rejoin the track, please.
Yeah.
We'll let you back on, don't worry. In the same place you was. But
So it was quite funny to see.
and then Lewis Hamilton on the radio, though.
Yeah.
Oh, great Ferrari tactics to keep the pole. But, no, I don't know. I think that's just Lewis. Whenever something doesn't go his way, he just complains on the radio most of the time. So, I don't know. But going from a crazy qualifying, Max Verstappen again. He had to start from the back because he had to have an engine swap. He's going really... The thing is, he wasn't even aggressive into the first turn. He's going down the first straight. He's braked really early, but everyone in front of him is just bunched up, and he's lost his front wing hitting, I believe, Perez. I think it was Perez he hit on the back, or Stroll. One of the racing points, and lost his front wing and had to pit for another one. So, another Max Verstappen crash 2 races in a row after a great form of podiums and P5s. So I don't know. I don't know if it's just an unlucky streak for Max Verstappen or we are seeing hints of the old Max Verstappen coming back. I'm not sure. I don't know. But
I don't want to make my predictions yet, but I think for Verstappen, he's learnt after Spa how good at overtaking Albon is in a Red Bull car.
Oh yeah, sorry, we forgot to mention Albon. He finished P5. Was it P5 or P?
P5 from P17.
P5 from P17 in his first ever race for Red Bull. Sorry, Alex Albon. We do know this. Yeah, but then he saw how good he was overtaking. Yeah, sorry to interrupt. Continue.
Yeah, but I feel like from that he's probably realising that like he can't just treat him like a pushover like Gasly was.
Oh, Gasly was a pushover. Yeah.
Like he's realised like I've got to race this guy properly now. Like it's not going to be as easy as it used to be.
Yeah, even though now Albon's proven that he can do a bit better than Gasly did. Maybe Red Bull can start giving a bit more resources towards him. And Max Verstappen seeing that, he's thinking, I've got to now put in the performance of a lifetime, time after time now, to prove that they should keep all their resources on me. But I don't know if that's a Red Bull internal issue to sort out.
Like nothing's concrete with that. It's just a rumour.
And then,
not rumour, really.
And then one scarlet red Ferrari. Sebastian Vettel going into a corner. Loses it all himself and spins. And then,
Bahrain, is this you?
Yeah, basically. He was all on his own going into the corner and just loses the back again. Spun, went off the track, and then, I don't know what he was trying to do to rejoin the track, but as he was rejoining, he clipped Lance Stroll and took him out of the race. Well, he didn't take him out, he just pushed him off the track. And then, on the radio, Lance Stroll comes on the radio, shouts, "Why is he rejoined so dangerously?" And then what does Lance Stroll go and do?
Join dangerously.
He then joins dangerously and pushes Pierre Gasly off the track. And you think, what is going on?
What's going on here?
You're meant to be professional F1 drivers and they're pushing each other off the track as if they're...
It's just the irony of Stroll.
I can't get over that bit. You hear him come on the radio. Why is he
straight
rejoining the track?
He gets
so
on the radio.
Like, and then he just does it straight away. You think, for God's sake, you can't moan about something and then do it yourself. Honestly, like...
Do you know what would be more tragic? If Gasly got beached in the gravel.
He's used to come around there, he thinks, 2 places here, and then Stroll's like, see
nope.
you later, mate. Launch you straight off and you can
Not
deal
happening.
with that. Just imagine if he pushed him into the fence. That would have been mad. because it would have counted as Stroll's fault, even though he was pushed off by Sebastian Vettel.
He's the
one rejoining the track dangerously, so he would have got the penalty for that. But I couldn't believe that. Speaking of penalties, I'm really liking what the steward's done during the Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton battle. Charles got his elbows out, maybe forced him off the track a little bit, but instead of penalising him, giving him a fine second time penalty or something, they gave him a black and yellow flag and said, "You do that one more time, we will give you a penalty." I think that's a better idea than actually penalising someone straight away. Because, the minute something like that happens, it's like, oh, well, that's that race over.
Yeah, that's the race over.
Yeah.
What's the point?
Because there's no way Charles will pull away 5 seconds to keep the lead or anything.
And what's the point in that whole fight they've just had and everything?
Oh, yeah. So I think that was a great idea by Suez. I think that really makes up, because with Vettel in Canada, it makes up for stuff like that. It's going to be, if they keep doing this, it's going to be I think it's going to be a good system and really save some of the racing in future F1 races.
Yeah, because I feel like for once, the people watching have actually sort of been listened to by the people that
the officials of F1 have actually finally listened to the people. And
just went, because in Canada it did look a bit suspicious that there was no way that Vettel could safely rejoin the track if there was just grass, brick, wall.
Yeah. And
it was just surprise, surprise, Hamilton has won again.
Yeah.
This sort of listens Hamilton was everyone knows that when he gets on the radio and something he doesn't like happens in front of him, he's gonna try and get that push towards a penalty.
Oh yeah. Going back to
he's moving on to braking.
So get over it. Max Verstappen done that so many times. But if you want to go back to Canada, Ferrari do a thing where every time they win a race, they put a flag outside their centre.
Yeah.
So they put 2 in for Spa and Monza now, but they already had 1 in there. That Sebastian Vettel, I imagine, said put that in there for Canada because he thought he should have won that race.
Yeah.
So there's 3 flags now flying outside the Ferrari centre. One of them technically shouldn't be there because he didn't win the race. But Seb said put it there.
Yeah.
Which I think was a great thing to do.
Good, I think that's brilliant.
And then after that, before that show, I think this might have been, I don't know if it was before or after, I've lost track, even though I watched the race live. Albon and Sainz were having a good old battle. Albon obviously qualified a bit lower than everyone else due to not getting a good run in qualifying, due to Kimi Raikkonen and obviously the craziness at the end. But they're battling, they're going around, I think it was turn 4. And Albon doesn't move, he dives up the inside, he goes a bit deep into the chicane, comes out, he's on the outside of Sainz, and Sainz just forces him off a little bit coming off one of the corners. Didn't get a penalty for it. Albon didn't spin or anything, didn't get forced off too hard, but another instance of close, hard racing without anyone getting penalised, which I thought was good.
So it was with that, from where I'd watched the sort of cut up replay of the race, because I didn't catch it like that. This race is just what everyone wants racing to be like. That don't penalise everything. If someone goes a bit wide, okay.
They went a bit wide.
Let them off that once. But if they keep doing it
deliberately for an advantage.
I do like it. It's right, you get 1 or 2 chances. You do it any more than that, then you will be getting flagged. It's sort of it's just a warning system, isn't it? It's I like it. I think it's really good. And then after that, we had Carlos Sainz coming into the pits again. Coming to pit, I think he was getting for a fresh set of mediums. As he's leaving the pit, I don't know if McLaren were getting tips off of Haas how not to put a wheel on properly.
They must have been.
But as he's leaving the pit, you can see his wheel
wobbling,
come straight off, and you think, oh, for God's sake. And he's in a good position I think he was in P6 or something at that point. So, yeah, McLaren sodded up all their points, with Lando Norris starting at the back and coming to 10th, so that was good for him. Yeah. But Carlos Sainz, who was going to get the bulk of the points, not actually finishing because one man couldn't put a wheel on properly. And then after that, we had K-Mag. He was down the order already because Haas have no race pace. They haven't had all season.
Yeah.
He DNF due to a hydraulic leak, I believe it was. So he just pulled into the pits and just retired the car. And then after that, there was Danny Kvyat. He's coming down the main straight, goes through the chicane, turns 1 and 2, goes to get on the power straight away, nothing there completely. You see him go to get on the throttle, and he just
And
sort of
just
sat there like,
nothing.
"Where's my throttle gone?"
Mm.
And then it turns out he had an engine failure and had to retire him.
Yeah, he pulled over, didn't he?
And I think he was also on for a good finish. I don't remember where, but he was definitely in the top 10, so he was doing really well there. But after that, finished the race. Charles Leclerc, after strong pressure from both the Mercedes, Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas, managed to win at Monza
He
for
banged it.
Ferrari.
Yeah.
It's Ferrari's first win in Monza since 2010, so I think
That atmosphere was incredible.
I'm surprised they don't already have a holiday named Charles Leclerc Day
Yeah.
after that. Like, I'm surprised he's not national hero or something. But that was great to see him get 2 wins in a row, especially this one. Nothing, no sadness attached to it.
It was just
one,
straight out. Showed what he can do.
Got
but
aggressive
this
when
one,
he needed to. Yeah.
He could enjoy the win of this.
Yes.
Oh yeah, you could see.
I bet he did.
Oh, when he.
If you heard
hear
the
his team radio, he's
he's
screaming.
literally
God.
screaming.
And then I thought it was quite funny. He's in Parc Ferme. He's just won the race. I can't remember who wins it. Johnny Herbert or is it Brundle? One of the interviewers goes to interview him, like talking in English, and he goes, "Can I talk in Italian, please?" Like, "You sure?" And you just see the interviewer standing there like, "I shouldn't have let him do that." 'Cause all he's doing is talking Italian really happily, and he's like, "No one understands a word we're saying on British TV. This was a bad mistake." But you can just see him so happy. He's like, got a smile ear to ear.
He's screaming on the thing, then he comes in, he gets out his car, he's punching the air. I was like, oh yes, Sean, this is what you need. This
You
is
love
what
to
you deserve.
see it, didn't you? You love to see it. And then not just a celebration for Ferrari, Renault, their first double points finish in a very long time. Ricciardo though, P4 and
Love
P5.
it. That's what I want to see.
Did you hear his team ready after he finished? I don't know what the incident was with. It wasn't an incident. It was like obviously a joke behind the scenes of something with pizza. I don't know if they went out for pizza or something.
Yeah.
But his engineer says, I think it was that pizza, and then Daniel Ricciardo comes on the radio and goes, "Pizza, pizza, pizza," where all the Ferrari drivers are talking in Italian. It's just Ricciardo, "Pizza, pizza, pizza." So,
oh, good on him. That's what I like to see.
Finally, Renault have a good finish, and Ricciardo finishes where he deserves to finish.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
I've been waiting for it all this time.
it's a sad thing to see him go from Red Bull to Renault, thinking he was going to get stable top 10 finishes, and then he hasn't had anything good. But it's
this
good
is
to
the
see him
start.
up
From now on,
there. Yeah.
in the top 5.
And then a minor celebration for McLaren. Lando Norris starting 16th on the grid, fighting all the way up through the field. Even he said they didn't have great straight line speed at Monza. Finished in P10, got a point for McLaren.
Exactly,
And
got
I
a
thought
point.
that was great. So I think that pretty much recaps all the F1.
F1 that's happened.
Yeah.
There's been a lot going on. There's been some crazy, great races. A few sad moments, but overall the racing has been amazing.
Yeah.
Welcome back F1 after the summer break.
Yeah.
Kicking off with 2 bangers of a race. Singapore next, and I'm really excited to see what's going to be there, because Red Bull are going to be back in it with their great chassis, because Singapore is normally a great one for them. So I'm glad to see what Alex Albon's going to do, and Max Verstappen.
Yeah, those two together.
It's going to be a good one. But Jack, if you want to take us through some new cars, what
Yes.
have you found this time?
So, you guys will be surprised to hear that not all the cars are electric this week.
Party time, thank God. Some normal cars.
So we're starting off
That makes noise.
with the Porsche Taycan. So they do the Taycan and the Taycan Turbo S. So I've kind of been seeing this everywhere, and it's the new sports car that Porsche released, and it is electric. And
You said there was petrol cars involved here.
deceiving
I just,
title.
I have to.
You
have to
started
start off
with
electric,
the
stay
good
to
with the
normal.
bad, haven't you now?
Yeah. So there's good coming, all right? Just hold out. So starting with the specs, 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds, around 750 brake horsepower, top speed of 160. It has active aero. There's like 3 different stages for different speeds you're going at.
Is this a hybrid, did you say?
No, it's
Is it full
I'm pretty sure it's full electric.
Okay.
But one thing I found very interesting is that it obviously has high rated brakes. It's a Porsche, but it has recuperation, so it can generate up to 90% of the braking energy, and just put that back into it.
What, back
So-
into the power output?
Yeah, so
So essentially, it's got a curse system.
pretty much.
I love it. Right, okay. I hate. Right, this is double-edged sword here. I hate electric. I don't hate electric cars. I have a minor disliking, I'll call it, to electric cars. However, though, I like the power from them, the torque, and then the fact that they're introducing like curve systems and DRS and stuff like that to them. That I like, but I can't get over not having a petrol engine and the noise and the sound and the feel of it all. That rant over, okay? That's that bit.
So they say if you're doing normal, like sporty, everyday driving, can reach a third of your power range from the rear. I know, I saw that and I was like, they're two very different things. Sporty driving and everyday driving are very different.
I didn't think they mixed. I thought one was speeding and one was driving normally.
It's all in the same sentence. I'm like, okay,
Driving
if you say
sporty
so,
at
Porsche.
30 mile an hour.
How do you drive sport? Do you like set launch control in, accelerate all the way up to 30 and then stop? Is that sporty everyday driving?
Well, you see, if it was a manual, it's just aggressive shifting.
Aggressive shift.
So, I'm not going to go over all the different interior bits because we'll literally be
Ooh,
here
That
all
looks
day.
beautiful.
But it's got the usual stuff like the old
A built-in TV.
active climate control, lots of screens and that. But
no, that's not a TV. That's a cinema. That stretches all across the car.
and it has like sports seats, GT wheel. But I mean, I think it's just like it's got all the normal features, but on like innovative steroids,
See,
pretty much.
I love all this screen technology. I'm assuming it's touchscreen as well.
Yeah, so in the interior, they've almost entirely replaced all mechanical buttons with electric.
See, I love it,
Bits
but
and
how
bobs.
much can go wrong though?
Oh, so much.
You get one bit of water in some of these wires, and that's it. None of your screen works anymore.
When you put so much reliance in the technology, unless it does work constantly.
Unless it's a bulletproof system, which nothing ever is.
But like,
something's gonna
your
go wrong.
passenger has a screen. There's like in the back to control all the active climate. It's just a screen with different buttons and animations.
I do like the future of interior technology with all the screens. I think that is beautiful. But can also get a shout out. These wheels,
Oh,
they look amazing for a production
do.
car.
Mm.
I don't know whether Porsche was like, let's get some sport wheels and just chuck it on there, paint them, make them different colours to the car, and it will look amazing. But they look really good on the car.
before we move on, then, what do we think about the looks?
Looks alright, yeah. I mean,
I'm
I'm not a fan
really
of the back.
doesn't really jump out from any other Porsche. To be fair, it's got the
No.
same sort of shape and everything. It's just, yeah, it's alright. It's not anything special.
No,
Yeah.
Other than the wheels, which are different to.
I wouldn't
I
go
would
as far to
Porsche.
say it's ugly, but I don't
Oh,
think
no.
it's.
I'd have to go as far
not a
as
looker.
sort of just saying it's average.
Mhm.
It is. It's an
It's
average-looking Porsche, isn't
Very
it?
average.
But when you look at the interior,
Which is what you're going to be looking at if you're driving it.
yeah,
You're
You've
gonna be having
gone
a whale of a
into
time.
hyperspace.
yeah, I think it's beautiful.
So next,
Is this the petrol car you promised me?
this is the petrol car, I promise
Thank
you.
God.
Finally.
The
Thank God.
SSC Tuatara, I think you say it. So, starting off with SSC, because you might have heard of it. If you
I don't
haven't,
think I have actually.
basically, it's a company set up by a guy called Gerard Shelby, who had like a history and passion for cars.
Any
and
relation
motorsport and that.
to?
I
Carol
didn't look
Shelby?
further into it, but I have a feeling not.
No.
But pretty much,
Oh, actually, is it a V8 in it? That'll give you a good
it
indication.
does have a V8 in it.
It might be then.
So they say, quote, they design and manufacture they make an American supercar that would stand up against the European-dominated industry of high-performance production cars. So they're like, they want to make an American, like, super hypercar.
So
that
An
they're
can-
the
American
Haas-
European super hypercar.
So
well,
they're the
one that
Haas
can
of the
challenge
road
the
car
European. You can say that.
I like it though. I'm liking
And
it.
I think they've made a couple concepts before. But yeah, we're going to talk about the
Yeah.
Tuatara.
I've heard of SSC before. Like they did something in the early 2000s. But
I've never heard of FFC, this new company to me.
So this car has fighter jet aerodynamics and performance, they say, and it's intense but simplistic. And I like the design. We don't have it here, but it will be there for the video listeners. The front of it looks the same as the back. It's just aggressive, but it's also, I think, like, it's just toned. It's nice.
Is you know when you said fighter dynamic, is that just to appeal to American markets? So
Yes.
When someone comes out, I got my car. It's got fighter jet aerodynamics.
That'll be part of the sales pitch.
Is-
That'll like the
That will
second
be.
sentence.
Oh, this is a
fighter jet.
it's basically a fighter jet being car form. Are you gonna buy it yet?
And it has the lowest drag out of all the cars in its class. So it has a 0.279 coefficient of drag.
I'm assuming it has active aero active aero.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it looks like it's got
And
one
so
of
it
the
has
wings.
0.279, and just to put that in comparison, because it's just a number for a lot of people, including myself, the Chiron has 0.36
Of what?
of coefficient of drag.
Yeah.
This has 0.279. The Hennessy Venom, along with the Agera, have 0.33. So this is leaps ahead.
Jeez.
And on the E85, it has 1,750 brake horsepower from a V8 twin turbo. And
Not bad.
do you know what's
Jesus.
really sticking out to me? That, like, what I thought about.
The winglets
So-
on the arches.
You know the Bugatti? So
Yeah.
Bugatti recently with a Chiron, they achieved over 300 miles an hour
Yeah, 304, I think, to be
Yeah.
exact.
Yeah.
with 1,578 brake horsepower. This has 172 brake horsepower more and less drag. So
Imagine getting that in a straight
Should
line.
go quicker.
Just
let's
imagine if
just
you hit.
see what happens in the future.
Just imagine if you hit a bump, you must take off like a missile.
Mm.
Jesus.
But I do wonder, because if they are wanting to compete against the European hypercars, supercars, this is their opportunity. Bugatti have just set this record. Everyone's like,
Just imagine if they come in and smash it
Exactly.
by like 10 mile an hour or something.
in like a couple of weeks, they just go through and they knock it out of the park.
That's it. Bugatti would be knocked off the top, really. wouldn't
Yeah,
it?
and so much, like, just everything will go to their brand. There'd be
Have you
so
got a
much
price for
attention
this?
for it. I don't have a price because I don't know if they're in production yet, but
Just imagine that comes out, it smashes the Bugatti, and then
and
they
it's
put,
less money.
and they put it
yeah.
up for cheaper just to spite Bugatti. That'd be amazing.
But no, overall, I think it's a really good looking car.
I think, yeah.
Mm.
Like the engine, I like the stats.
Everything about the stats is great. Who wouldn't like the stats? But the thing is, I do like the fighter jet aerodynamics. They have sold me it now. To be fair, it looks sleek,
It does.
aerodynamic. I think it's. I would have it.
Yeah.
Overall opinions?
I'd buy one.
You buy one, Jared?
I'd probably buy one, yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. I think that's a unanimous decision.
Freedom.
They've made the right decision here. Well,
If
first
you
off, they
if you
put
can
a
throw
General Motor
petrol
in it.
I'm happy.
If you can put petrol and it has insane performance,
And
we're pretty much
fighter jet
all on the same
aerodynamics.
net. Oh yeah, fighter jet aerodynamics. Don't forget about
But you
that.
got to have your fighter jet aerodynamics. It's,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
the main feature of the car.
I don't want a car that doesn't have fighter jet aerodynamics anymore.
If it doesn't have fighter jet aerodynamics, don't come talk to me, okay?
Supra's got fighter jet aerodynamics. Well, it has a fighter jet interior.
It was based
But
on a
does your
fighter jet,
Fiesta
wasn't it?
have one?
My Fiesta doesn't have one.
We can make that different.
We can.
We will redo your interior for you.
Give it some wings, fighter jet aerodynamics.
So what am I looking at now, Jack?
You are looking at the Audi PB18 e-tron. It's electric.
Yep, I could tell by the E-tron part.
Yeah, the E-tron bit gave
So
it
this
away.
is just a concept, but it's said to have 760 brake horsepower of electric power from a trio of electric motors, 500 kilometers of range that can charge in 15 minutes,
Jesus.
0 to 60 in just over 2 seconds. And because it's a concept car, they've not like confirmed all these numbers or anything, which I think they may have just kind of chucked them out there.
So
Like,
every
we
number
want to
that-
show
yeah.
off the style of the car, but here's some numbers.
Every
that-
number they've come up with, oh yeah, it's got 500 miles of range,
Yeah.
can charge in 15 minutes.
They're probably like, these
But
are
in
numbers that we
reality-
could achieve if we had to, if someone was filing a lawsuit, but
Just imagine
we're just
they,
going to chuck them out there. 'Cause
they
they're-
get done for selling the product, and it's like, bugger. Now we've got to make the car again. Jesus.
But in reality, the batteries take 12 hours to charge, and you can barely do 100 miles because it's just like
You got so much
they're
power
sports
output.
batteries.
You got so much power output, it just
They're
drains them straight away.
turbocharged batteries, like Porsche Cayenne do.
But yeah, so, and those numbers, I mean, they're not too impressive in today's standards.
No, but to be fair, I do like the look of this Audi. I do like
Yeah,
the wheels.
that's why I included it, because of the design. Has a crazy interior. Has 460 litres of luggage
I
space.
don't think you sold it to Jared.
Well, Jared, I'm about to sell it to you right now, and not with fighter jet aerodynamics.
I just don't
Well,
like
then
how
you've
it
not told
looks.
me.
And that is because
Oh
it
my
has
Jesus.
a driver's seat that can be McLaren F1 like spec, you know, put it right in the middle, or you can shift it left to right. And yeah, there's talk of Audi making 50 of them, but look at that interior. That
Are
is
there any
literally
other
a
seats in
fighter
this
jet.
vehicle first?
I'm not sure, but you don't need them.
You don't need them when you're sat like that. That's amazing. They sold me now. Jared's still trying to make up his
floating
mind.
about.
Come on, Jared.
Imagine sitting there.
Look at that thing.
Sitting in that cockpit.
See,
Oh,
the
God.
interior is impressive, but the outside of it lets it down.
That's alright. You'll only be looking at the inside when
See,
you're
how do
driving
you
it.
say
Yes.
that lets you down? That look,
I think
apart
the
from the
outside-
wheels,
No,
that
it
thing
just
looks
look
great.
it like like on the front for those who aren't watching the video.
Yeah, for audio listeners.
Why does it look like it's only got half a bonnet and the windscreen's decided to just fly out from behind? It's
Because
just
it
sort
doesn't have an engine because it's electric.
yeah, but still, just complete the bonnet. It just looks incomplete.
I can't tell whether it's like a little one-seater hatchback or like a
I don't know what they're trying to
sports
make
car
here.
or...
It's just going to be for a billionaire playboy, though, isn't it? Really, when you think
Oh,
about
but it does look sick.
Just see him turn up to the club in that thing. You're like, oh, they're here now.
Which door do you get out of?
Both. Why not?
The roof.
Just choose one.
I just thought, well, which one do you get out?
Do you reckon-
Well, since it's a concept car, it wouldn't surprise me if it's just just remove the whole roof and you get out that way.
the roof's convertible just flips up like a lid, just flips back down.
Yeah.
And you just, it's like an ejector seat that just bounces you out just slightly enough that you
For
get
you
out of the car.
For you to slide down the windscreen.
And in that
And
car,
land on
I
your
want.
feet.
Yeah. Right, so we're saying that had a great interior, right?
Yeah.
But if that car doesn't have like a button that gives me like ultra turbo mode as well, while I'm sat in the middle of it as
Yeah.
well.
If it
Hyperspeed.
If
Hyperspeed.
it doesn't give
I want
me
hyperspeed. Give me
options-
hyperspeed.
If it doesn't give me options for Hellfire missiles, I'm not saying.
Well, if you go back to look at the back of it, it looks like it has slots for like.
And I know it's
Fire
even
missile.
more. If I'm sitting in this little cockpit in this crazy looking Audi, I want some incredible performance specs though. Do you know what I mean? I want 0 to 60 in like 1 second.
Comes out, it's only got 100 brake horsepower because that's the only way they can
And
actually
then
get
they've
it to
went
do
and
500
Prius
miles.
hybrid
but then-
engine. They just got to make up the specs somehow.
They've just got to sell it to the like the sporty environmental. So yeah, it's fully electric, but it's just got like a 3-cylinder from like an A1. It's just like, there you go.
It's
Does that make you
environmental.
happy?
Oh, I think
You know
this-
what happened though? Everyone who has one will just lie about the engine. That's such a cool car. Does it go fast? Yeah, I'm just being conservative. Batteries.
Oh,
and
battery
that,
life and everything. I've only got a little bit left. I need to get home.
Yeah,
now.
I don't want to, stretch it out. I don't want to show off too much.
You just get out with your bundle of extension cords.
Yeah.
Just pull up next to someone's house. Do you mind if I just plug in, please? Can I just, reel of extension cords, like Jared said?
So,
Carter
Carter
Bay.
Bay. And what are these? What would you group this as?
Well, these are some super grand tours.
Super Grand Tour.
Right, Jack, what have you got?
I've got the Aston Martin DBS Superleggera. Oh, it's a beautiful car.
fucking car.
So they cost around 225 grand. They come with an amazing Aston Martin 5.2 litre V12, which is lovely, which has 715 brake horsepower, and that takes the car 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds and 0 to 106.4 seconds, and can hit 211 with 4 seats.
Fair enough.
But I'm going to go out there and say the most important bit about it is that it looks very sexy.
Oh, mate, I love them pixels. That looks amazing. For anyone who doesn't know, the screen wouldn't load and all we got was a bunch of pixels. But I will let you off that.
It's insane. The
It
back
is
of it,
nice
the front
looking.
of it.
I think it's just an Aston Martin thing.
Even
I think
the
they know how to
interior.
do.
Because Aston, I'm not going to lie, the interiors are normally a bit outdated. They're
Oh,
a
yeah.
bit. But this one, I like
I
it.
don't know.
It's a bit typical Aston, but it's just classy.
It's not that. It's the seats and with that cross pattern on it.
I'm sure you can get it without if you really desire.
Oh, it looks up.
Oh,
Ugh.
was he going to use the U word?
I was gonna use the U word. That thing is Nah, get that away
Okay,
from
we're
me.
going back to the outside.
Yeah, it's fine. Keep it on the outside, and I'll go with you. But
God, it's a beautiful
definitely not that interior. Jesus Christ.
Okay, let's.
I don't want to use that U word because that's like for specific things. But
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Like, that's a super serious word for us to have to use.
That is almost.
Especially when the
That
outside
is-
is a 11 out of 10.
What's the word I'm looking for? That is
Almost blasphemous.
blasphemous word. Thank you, Jared. And yeah, so right, I've got Bentley Continental GT, the 2019 version. This has got 626 brake horsepower from a 6-litre twin-turbo W12 engine, not a V12, putting out 664 pound-feet of torque. You can do 207 miles per hour top speed. It's got an 8-speed dual-clutch automatic, do 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds, and that will all cost you about £162,000.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
I had to do a quick translation from dollars to pounds, but it's 162,000. I couldn't find anything like about suspension or anything like that, but all it's got a 12-inch touchscreen heads-up display, traffic sign recognition, blind spot assistance, 360-degree camera, adaptive cruise control, pedestrian avoidance, and night vision camera.
How does the pedestrian avoidance work?
The pedestrian avoidance is
The driver.
the driver.
Nah, it's cameras. You can just drive at them and it will steer for you. I don't know how the pedestrian avoidance system works.
What if
You just
you're
got
going down the road,
Human being.
there's an old lady, there's a mother and a baby, and you can't avoid them. Which one does it pick?
I think
It
you just,
hits you.
yeah, it will kill you.
It will just crumple
It
inwards.
will see all of them and think, drive up next, doing. Nah, but I want to know this night vision camera. Like, what is it like just a reversing camera or something? What?
You just drive with your headlights off, like, I am special
I feel
forces.
like I'm from the SAS with that thing. It's
A
like,
little
jeez.
sensor console pops up and there's a headset, and you actually have to put on this SAS night vision, driving with the goggles.
Thing is, if you got that, do you have like an MP5 silence just also in the dash and all?
You got a targeting pad that flicks up as well.
You know, you saying you wanted Hellstar missiles from the back of the Audi.
Yeah.
You get that with the Bentley with your night vision and your MP5.
What do you think that screen does? It controls the UAV.
Heat signatures, target locks, everything.
Okay, the interior is very nice.
It's typical Bentley. It's always going to look great.
I'm going to ignore the
interior.
colours on the one we got pictures of and just look at
Yeah.
the interior for what it is, and it's very nice. And also, the Aston does have 4 seats. I'm just going to mention this. The back seats
Unpopular
aren't really
opinion.
seats, but them ones, the back seats are actually seats.
Unpopular opinion here.
Oh no.
I like that cream with the wood and the black. Something about it I really do like.
See, that black to me is more grey.
Grey,
looks
black, whatever you
blue.
want to call it. What?
That's blue. That's fully blue.
No, that's not blue.
Either way, though, I would want that fully black.
Yeah,
That's
probably
blue.
want it fluid black, but
Or
I like it.
I'm not. I could go like fully cream or fully black, but the mix of the bluey bit. Then
It's
the
not blue.
That's blue.
Right,
That's black.
video listeners,
That's wood.
Please put in the comment section what you think that colour is,
It's
because
blue.
that is not blue.
That is black.
Yeah, I'll agree with Jared. That's grey then. That's not black. If that's black,
Okay, I'll give you a grey with a with
we'll
a blue
compromise
tint.
with a grey. But I do like that cream interior for some reason. Something is, yeah, I'd have it. I'd cruise around with it.
Okay. Connor, you would have this interior. Jared, would you have this exact interior?
No.
I'm gonna go no as well.
It's because you don't have style and you can't cruise in a Bentley with style.
Clearly not. Clearly not.
Right, Jared,
All
what
right,
have
mate.
you brought to the table with us?
And now Jared's gonna sort of flex his interior on us.
I have the Rolls-Royce Wraith
Wraith.
Wraith. I think it's a
Uh,
great name for a car, though.
yeah.
Wraith.
from the £253,430.
Bit steep.
Sorry to cut you off. I was just thinking about it. Wraith just sounds like someone who can't pronounce their R's trying to say race or something. I want to do a waif. I'm so sorry to interrupt you there.
From use, you're looking between 70,000 to 201,000.
Oh, depreciation, hello.
Whoa, what?
624 brake horsepower, 155 mile an hour top speed, 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds. Has a 6.5 litre V12.
Let's be honest though, Rolls Royce, it's not built.
It's not built for speed.
It's not an Aston.
It's built for
is it?
comfort, not for speed.
And it
Yeah.
does comfort well.
And I think it sort of shows where like some of the interior features, voice activated sat nav, optional HUD.
Does it work though?
Take me to home. Do you want to go to Rome?
It probably will put you in a lake. Yeah, optional HUD. As a lot of cars now, when you want to, if you're not a BMW M Sport like person,
Guy.
you can have a Rolls-Royce iPhone app to show off your car that you already have anyway.
Oh, so Rolls-Royce and
very
BMW
nice.
here in battle with the...
Then it's just
Battle at the pub with the phone.
Hang on, are you really going to go to a pub where you're in a Rolls-Royce Wraith at this point?
No.
Actually, no, hang on.
With
With the depreciation value, you might. drink away the sorrow of the
Drink the
depreciation.
All the Rolls Royce owners are in the same pub. Why are you here? Is that your car? Oh, that's why you're here.
Looking at the bar that specialises in it, sells cheap wine to him just to keep him happy.
Welcome to the Wraith Club. We're all in the same boat here, so drink away.
It's other stuff you would like. One thing you would expect is it to have Bluetooth, but then one thing that I would say is a useful thing is the sat-nav has real-time traffic information that just tells you literally everything about what's going on ahead of you by a few miles.
Sorry, not you. Your butler knows what to do.
Well, some people actually like to drive their cars. And then
I'd happily sit in the back of that one.
Oh, yeah.
and there's a few other things like adaptive LEDs, walnut dashboard.
Walnut what?
Go again?
Hey,
Walnut
Oh,
dashboard.
he is right. It says burr. Walnut burr. Whatever that is.
A DVD player, if you want to go that far back.
That's a bit old school, isn't it?
USB connectivity and a hat stand.
That's just hat stand. Oh, very useful.
Let me just get in my car. Hat stand.
Rolls Royce and their technology, they aren't really there. Are they?
No.
Like it's just old school. Like it's probably from a BMW.
The hat stand's from the owner's house.
Yeah.
It's an optional extra you have to install yourself.
Yeah.
Do you know what?
And you have to pay for you to install it yourself.
Self tappers.
That'll be 200 quid.
Oh no, double-sided tape at least. Don't
Oh,
want to
yeah.
self-tap the Rolls Royce.
So that'll be about
That'll
500
take off
quid.
another 10 grand. Jesus.
Is there any 10 grand to take rid of? Like, it's low.
And then
It's
there'll
low
be
enough
20
already.
pence.
Right, so let's do a battle of stats here.
First, I want to say the pictures we have. That is also a cream and wood and
That's
black
white.
and blue.
That's
Okay.
white.
Okay. Well, it's similar to the Bentley.
The
so
Bentley's cream. This
it's a
is
good
white.
comparison.
Are you colourblind?
Connor and his Bentley interior.
Are you colourblind?
You see, with
I think I might be.
with that interior, it's like the bits of black that do look like they work is with like the carpets, but it's the actual dashboard bit. I think that could do with being
What at the
white.
top or in the?
At the top,
Tell you
Yeah.
what they need to do.
just
See
to make
where
it
they-
look
There's
like an
nothing
Oreo.
else that's black.
See where
is
they
there?
got the wood on the doors?
Yeah.
Change that for black trim.
That's probably an option.
I'm just not a fan of the wood.
I don't think the wood is a good thing, really. I'm
Nah.
not a fan.
They're trying to keep like the old
Old
school
school,
class, like
high, upper class, high class.
Yeah.
Just
the one thing
Bentley.
I do quite like with this car is on the in the ceiling.
Oh,
Just the
little,
lights in
yeah.
the ceiling.
That's good.
'cause-
There's
I'll
there's a
level,
name
that's
for
good.
it. I can't remember it, but it's like.
Yeah, just in
Cool.
case.
Is that the name you're looking for?
That does do it justice.
Right. So let's have.
We
a
don't
battle
have to
of
talk
stats
about the
then.
exterior of
No,
the Rolls.
don't-
No, it just looks like a Rolls and it leans like one because that's a trait they
'Cause it's
leave
a
in the
Rolls.
car.
That's because of the weight of the bloody thing.
Yeah, but they could put better suspension, but they don't.
I do that. Well, the thing is, if they put stiffer suspension in it, they'll lose ride comfort. So they need the roll. They have to have the body roll now because they need the softened springs when you go over bumps. And
When
stuff.
you are driving a Somali prince around.
I mean, if the heads-up display is from like 2005, I don't think they're going to put new suspension in it.
They put
They're
suspension
not
from the
bothering.
80s.
If it works
Leaf
once, it'll
springs.
work again.
A little leaf springs in the bag. Right,
But,
stat
yeah.
battle.
Stats.
Right. What's your-
Connors is the cheapest, isn't it?
Yeah, mine was 162,000. Actually, no,
Mine's-
his is the cheapest if you want to buy a used
if
one.
you want to buy a
Yeah.
used one, then the
For all
Rolls
used ones,
Royce.
70,000.
So, Jack, what was yours price-wise?
Mine was starting at 225 grand.
Jesus. So I think I went on price. What was your brake horsepower?
715.
Oh my Jesus Christ! You smoke me.
What year?
626.
Oh, I'm the slowest. 624.
Oh, only by 2, so it's not too bad.
But I mean,
Yeah.
I kind of expect that because the Aston just seems.
It's a bit more performance
It's
based,
performance.
isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like I wouldn't say it's sportier because I think the Bentley's quite sporty. Like,
Oh, it's a
so-
sporty
yeah.
looking car, but I
But
think
yeah, no,
Bentley.
Aston's a bit more performance.
It's, thing is, with the weight of the Bentley, and it's designed to be a bit more of a cruiser, if you know what I mean.
Mhm.
Like,
Do you know what I've just realised? Our three cars are literally the scale. Like, you have performance on one end, you got the Aston, then you got absolute luxury touring on the other end, is the Rolls.
and the Bentley sits in the
it's
middle.
literally the middle.
I didn't actually look at it that way. It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all good in their own. Oh, sorry, I just kicked the table. But they're all good in their own aspects.
And then the
they?
Bentley's just a mixture of the two, isn't it?
Yeah,
Mm.
I like it.
Does that mean it's the best, though? We'll get to
we
it.
haven't crossed that bridge yet. We're getting there. What was your engine size? What you got on engine wise,
V12, 5.2 litre.
Jared?
6.5 litre V12.
6 litre twin turbo W12.
Yeah, we'll let him take that.
Yeah, thank you. 8-speed dual clutch automatic.
Just a standard 8-speed auto.
I'm not sure.
I did not tell you that one.
What about 0 to 60?
3.6. Yours is
4.5.
flipping heck.
It's a yacht. It really is.
That is a yacht.
I'm on 3.4, so just a
Oh.
tad faster than
So
the Bentley.
you take the 0 to 60, but that is just the Aston Martin performance side.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
where the Bentley's got a little bit of luxury and it's got the weight to it. It's got
Mm.
power, but it's not.
And
Well,
that is just a
even-
yacht on wheels.
Yes, it is.
When you think about like how much more like, I mean the Aston is luxury as well, but how much more the Bentley is, to say that it's only 0.2 seconds
Yeah.
slower 0 to 60.
It is.
It's not a big deal.
I think the Bentley is a great mix between the luxury side of things and the performance side of things.
Yeah.
I think when the way they've done it.
So with that being said, tomorrow you're gonna go and buy one. Which are you gonna buy? I'm going with the Aston.
So
I'm
who's
fully
going to start
with the
this off?
Aston.
You're going to go Aston.
Yeah,
Jared, I'll let you take this one.
I'm not changing my mind. The Aston
Um,
looks so amazing.
I would say for how I am personally with how I like my cars to be,
He's going with the Aston.
I would go with the Aston.
I saw it.
It has to be a bit more sporty in my world. Like, the Rolls, it's a nice car, but I'm not the kind of person that buys a car to sit in the back of it.
No, I don't think any of us are here to sit in the back.
Nah.
Of the
If
car.
I'm driving cross continent to China, I'll take the Rolls. But
Really?
but I mean anything else, the Aston looks cool. It performs. It's also luxury.
Right.
It's a winner in my book.
Mm.
Unpopular opinion.
Two things.
Two things to note.
First off, like you, if everyday driving, I'm having the Aston just because performance. I can get over the interior after that, yeah.
I've just realised I've completely forgot about the Bentley.
But if I am touring, say we're down south of England, say I'm going to go to Scotland for a holiday, I want the Bentley, not the Rolls Royce. I want the Bentley. I want the Bentley to go touring around in because it's got the power to it and it's also got the luxury.
Okay, maybe. You're in the south of England. You go into Scotland. You take the Aston. You go into Monaco on the other hand. You take the Bentley. I can see that, but yeah, no.
I'm just thinking long distance though. If you're going to travel for a long period of time, I just think the Bentley would be more comfortable
It
over
would
that
be,
long
yeah,
period of
no, I
time, where
agree
the
with you on
that.
Aston's more of a sportier Grand Tourer.
Maybe that's just our personal opinions though.
Maybe.
Because
Yeah.
if I'm going on a long road trip, I want some speed.
Right, so taking in
If I was
what we
50,
would buy,
however.
taking in what we buy, the interior, the exterior, and all the stats and everything we've just discussed, we've got to rank them best to worst.
And it is hard because the Bentley is literally the
It's-
perfect match of the two.
To me, it's the.
But I just
I have
love
to
the
say,
Aston.
I think it's the perfect Grand Tour in the sense that it's got power to it and it's
And
got the
it's got the
luxury
luxury.
side of it.
Yeah, no, I can agree with you on that.
But I
It's
think
like the perfect.
Because of our
like,
personal opinions, though,
Yeah, exactly.
we want
Bring
the
in-
power of the Audi, Aston Martin.
unbiased opinion, I would probably say the Bentley out of these three is the best Super Grand Tourer.
Yeah.
But for me personally, I would go the Aston. That's how I see it.
So I think we'll agree. Aston at the top just because our thing.
Just
Yeah.
because our personal preference, but unbiased, looking at all the stats, the specs, the prices, the Bentley's the best.
Yeah. So I think even we put in our personal preference in top. So we go Aston, Bentley, then Rolls Royce. Just because I just don't think it suits. I know it sounds bad. It just doesn't suit us. We're going to sit in the back. It ain't got power. It's just weighty. It doesn't even look great.
It's
I mean, the
the same,
interior
isn't it?
looks okay. Don't get me wrong, but the exterior is just a typical.
It's a nice car, but it's
Rolls
just
Royce.
it's just a Rolls Royce, isn't it?
It's
Yeah.
nothing special.
You get what you pay for.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
All right.
So-
So Jack, if you want to take us out.
Yeah, no, thank you for listening to episode 7. It was a bit of a long one because we had to do the double for the motorsport, but I hope you enjoyed. It's been a good one, actually.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we will see you.
No,
when
we
we
won't
see-
see you next
Oh,
week.
yeah, we won't see you next week. However, the week after, we'll be back on point.
Follow us on Twitter at Carweekpodcast and on Instagram at Carweekpodcast. If you
Yep.
haven't checked out the audio, check out the
Get some
audio
updates.
on Anchor or iTunes, whatever you listen to. If you want to check out the video, go on YouTube, Carweekpodcast. Give us any comments, like the video on anything, rate us, and subscribe to the channel. Really helps
Yep.
us.
Give
Alright.
us any recommendations, anything, just
Oh, anything, yeah.
Yeah.
get in contact.
All right.
Amen.
Bye.